In this video, I'm going to be talking about dietary protein and especially tryptophan, and how T cells need it and why T cells need a tryptophan. So basically, dietary protein, including meat and protein powders, do contain tryptophan that T cells can use for protein synthesis. Okay, the important thing to know about tryptophan is that it's an essential amino acid, but the body cannot synthesize tryptophan on its own. So tryptophan must come from the diet, and some sources include meats such as chicken, turkey, beef, fish, also dairy, such as milk, cheese, and eggs, protein powders, probably the easiest way to get uh, a tryptophan, such as a whey and casein powders. As for soy powders, not too sure about soy because it has been linked to thyroid issues, so careful with soy. And then some plant sources, such as nuts, seeds, and oats. So all those mentioned do contain tryptophan. So when dietary tryptophan is sufficient, T cells have the building blocks they need for protein synthesis. But depletion of tryptophan, such as low intake or enzymatic degradation of IDO, which is short of indoleamine 2,3 deoxygenase. Uh, if there is a degradation of that enzyme, that slows or stops T cell proliferation because T cells sense the shortage and then trigger stress responses. Now, here's tryptophan metabolism in T cells. So basically, the protein synthesis is where the tryptophan is incorporated into the polypeptides during translation. But low tryptophan leads to ribosome stalling and then an activation of GCN2 kinase pathway. So basically, this GCN2 senses the low tryptophan and then stops or inhibits the proliferation of T cells. So basically, a less number of T cells. Okay, tumors, they can actually suppress immune responses and reduce T cells by secreting IDO, that enzyme that I was talking about earlier. IDO actually catabolizes tryptophan, turning it to kynurenine. So kynurenine acts as an immunoregulatory molecule, suppressing T cell proliferation and then promoting T regulatory cells, or TREGs in short. So basically, TREGs, I've said this in many of my other videos, they rob or steal IL-2 away from T cells, making T cells weak and ineffective against cancer cells and tumors. So it's no wonder that tumors, they secrete IDO so that the IDO can create the kynurenine and then creating the TREGs to suppress the T cells as an immune attack escape. So basically, dietary protein is digested into amino acid, and then tryptophan enters plasma. Now, a good trick or a hack here to improve the digestion of the amino acids is kiwis. Kiwis have a special enzyme called actinidin, and that helps the absorption of those amino acids, therefore upregulating or boosting the absorption of tryptophan. Now, it's important to know that kiwis are unique compared to other fruits because other fruits, they don't have the same improvement of amino acid absorption the same way that kiwis do, because other fruits, they don't have actinidin. So kiwi is the only fruit that contains actinidin. So thanks to the kiwi boosting tryptophan absorption, T cells, they take up the tryptophan via these LAT1 transporters, or LAT1. And then the T cells use the tryptophan for protein synthesis for T cell proliferation. And of course, low tryptophan levels means GCN2 activation, which reduces T cell proliferation. So this LAT1 on T cells is also sensitive to amino acid competition. So high levels of other large amino acids, such as leucine, phenylalanine, and valine, can affect tryptophan uptake. Polyphenols in fruits, they can actually modulate amino acid transporters. Some of these fruits are oranges, grapes, apples, kiwi, papaya, pineapple, which I've spoken a lot in my other videos, pears, bananas. Bananas can upregulate ASC2, which gives uh, glutamine as a fuel source to tumors, but it can be context dependent, so I would be careful with bananas. And then mangoes have anacardic acids. Mangoes help with the anacardic acid restore exhausted T cells, but that's a different video for a different day. Also, cantaloupe and watermelon has a citrulline, uh, which provides arginine for T cells because arginine gets depleted as well in the tumor microenvironment. So there's an interleukin called interleukin 6 or IL-6 for short. If there is chronic interleukin 6 elevation, this may contribute to tryptophan depletion in the microenvironment, suppressing T cell responses. Salmon, high in omega-3 fatty acids, and anti-inflammatory, may modulate IL-6 signaling. So salmon is great to have for a tryptophan uptake for T cells. Also, tomato, red cabbages um, are antioxidants, which also help offset IL-6 mediated inflammation. So another good one here is PGC1A, which is the master regulator of mitochondrial biogenesis, and this enhances T cell oxidative metabolism. PGC1A also supports LAT1 mediated amino acid uptake and proliferation. So foods such as chocolate and possibly other foods too, but chocolate is a more simple food to have to boost PGC1A levels, therefore supporting tryptophan uptake into T cells because PGC1A supports the LAT1 mediated amino acid uptake for T cells. Okay, now there are heavy metals in chocolate, unfortunately. So, heavy metals such as cadmium induces reactive oxygen species. What this does is that it impairs LAT1 expression, inhibiting tryptophan uptake, suppressing T cell function. Also, microplastics can induce oxidative stress, leading to chronic inflammation, and this can indirectly affect LAT1 and amino acid metabolism. Okay, so quick recap. Dietary tryptophan is in meat, dairy, protein powders, careful with soy, also plant sources such as nuts, seeds, and oats. And the meat sources for tryptophan are chicken, turkey, beef, and fish. When tryptophan is sufficient in the diet, T cells have the building blocks they need for protein synthesis. IDO, short for indolamine 2,3 deoxygenase, slows or stops T cell proliferation. Also, tumors happen to secrete IDO as a way of suppressing T cells with TREGs as an immune attack escape. GCN2, due to low tryptophan, inhibits T cell proliferation. Fruits can help reduce IL-6, therefore reducing IL-6 modulation on LAT1 expression. PGC1A from chocolate supports LAT1 amino acid uptake and T cell proliferation. And heavy metals such as cadmium can reduce LAT1. So that's it for the video. If you want more future videos, then make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you next time.